I've seen Batman v Superman, or Batman v Superman. I've seen Captain America Civil War. But instead of reviewing those, I've gone for a film that has, some great heroic people fighting against ideologically opposed forces, and coming out the other side sort of changed for it. Now, I could be kind of describing these films, but no, I'm describing Dear Zachary, a letter to a son about his father. This is a sad tale. It's a documentary. It's entirely based in real life. And the father in question is Dr. Andrew Bagby, who, sort of passed medical school, done a little residency, didn't really like it where he originally was, but moved to Latrobe, Pennsylvania. It's kind of like a little, family practitioner. That was definitely more him. The small town family doctor, was so much more fulfilling of a role for him, and that's great. I like that. He can have that sense of joy, if you will. And all was going well, really, But he had been in a relationship with Dr. Shirley Turner. Now, unlike Andrew, she wasn't kind of practicing. She was a very unusual person. People found she had a very abrasive personality. And by October of 2001, Andrew had kind of, I think, confided in people to say that he didn't really feel that the relationship was real, if you know anymore. In his head, the relationship was over. But he just needed to obviously let her know. But like a lot of people, and I'm probably a bit guilty of this, I don't like sort of letting people down. I don't like hurting people if I can avoid it. And it seems Andrew was very much of a similar mindset, so he didn't really want to do this, but they did arrange a meeting in November. Now, he was advised by a friend to be wary. He actually said, don't go alone, but, he did, and he was kind of a bit like, I think we need to talk when we get back, because, just need to know what you're on about with this. And he didn't show up for work the next day. He was found face down with 5 gunshot wounds, including 1 to the face and 2 in the buttocks. It was, it's not a great thing that happened. And everyone just knew that it must have been Shirley. Now, she's very crafty. She'd actually called from different locations travelling to meet him. And when she got home, she left a voicemail as though she didn't know he was dead. It was kind of like, oh, I guess I've missed you, maybe you're at lunch. Call me when you can. And it was just very weird, this laying of exonerating evidence really for her. But, she was eventually kind of found out, I guess, in many ways by a lot of people, because they knew what she was like. They figured it out, I guess, more than found out, they figured it out. And that would have been the end of it, there'd have been a legal battle, have her, thrown in jail for murder, but there was a complication. She was pregnant with Andrew's child. A paternity test was done after birth, just to verify, which makes sense, really, because obviously she's making this claim just to get, perhaps sympathy or something like that from the family, and really kind of harm them. Not a good idea. Problem is, though, she'd fled to Newfoundland in Canada, St. John's particularly, and obviously the crime had taken place on US soil, so it's very difficult to explain, in these words. I don't want to sort of just basically do the entire film, and I do recommend watching it for yourself. But the extradition process was not easy. Remembering this is like 2001, 2002, 2003, it's all through that period pretty much. And the extradition process is difficult. The parents of Andrew, if you will, the grandparents of the child that would become Zachary, actually ended up having to move to Newfoundland to see him. This woman who they were so sure had killed their child, they now had to enter into a civil relationship with to see that child and to make sure it was being cared for. Because if she could do that to their son, what could she do to Zachary? And that was their main fear. And throughout the film, there is this kind of information of like just how devious she could be, but also how brave, courageous, and I said it before and I'll say it again, heroic the Bagbies are. Kate and David are amazing people. And they were amazing people all throughout this process. Now, at the start of the film, Kurt, sort of says he doesn't know why he's making it, necessarily. He knows why he's making it, but he doesn't know when he'll know when to stop. He doesn't know what that point will be for him. He doesn't know, when he'll have enough. When will it be enough? Do I need to basically just film throughout the entirety of your life, to get this information? And he makes this kind of claim that, as I say, he doesn't know. He has no clue. But he knows that he wants to go and speak to, family and friends. He actually has family over where I am in the UK. There are people sort of in the south of England who he, as I say, they are related to, because Kate is from England originally. She went over as a nurse, in fact, and met David and pretty much stayed there instead of coming back, which I think was great. This wonderful personal story. So he speaks to them, then goes back out to the US and goes all the way from like the East Coast in California up to Newfoundland. As I say, it's packed with humour. It's packed with human interactivity and the emotional spectrum. It's packed with sadness. I will admit that I cried 3 times. Once when they were talking about seeing the body. And another time, somewhere else in the film, and at the end, because Kurt does find his stopping point, and what that is. If you have any level of emotional, like, empathy for people or sympathy, I defy you not to kind of feel almost hopeful at the end. These are people who have the will to life, the will for change, and that is so beautiful. And I think really a valuable commodity. And I'm kind of choked up a little talking about it, because it is just, I can't think of many films that have hit me this hard. But the fact that it's been a couple of days and I'm still having this effect, says it all. Beautiful people trying to do what's right in the world. I definitely recommend seeing it. It is well crafted, and it's a peek into these lives. He's not trying to sell you a story. He's wanting you to see what happened, the aftermath, and just how far some people will go to make sure the right thing's done. And I think that's beautiful. So I'm going to go and sort of wipe my face, wipe the tears away. But until next time, as always, of course, take care.